Alright, welcome again, all Kingston FIR controllers, instructors, etc. This is once again your training director, Gray Taylor, here with another video, this time to serve as a tutorial for handling non-radar traffic with the newest Kingston radar Euroscope setup. So basically this is going to cover non-radar from more of a Euroscope technical standpoint. I'm not going to go into all the details of actual non-radar procedural control because that's what instructing is for, not for video tutorials. Basically this is going to go over just how to handle non-radar traffic and their data tags and their behavior in Euroscope, both from the standpoint of Cayman approach and from Kingston radar. Alright, so as you can see here, we're on Cayman approach, and we have an aircraft coming in from the north, American 1007. Right now he's a normal radar target, so we go ahead and correlate him. Since we're on Cayman approach, which is a non-radar position, that's all we're going to do with him. As far as his data tag is concerned, you'll see he has a dupe warning, which means he's a duplicate squawk. But we don't really care about his squawk, so we don't need to worry about it. First thing we're going to do is go ahead and tag him, or track him. And if you draw out his route, you can see, you just saw that he has the Goron 3 arrival filed. And we're just going to pretend that he called us descending through flight level 250 for 10,000. And we're going to go ahead and set that in his data tag here. We don't need him to fly the whole Goron 3 arrival, so we just send him direct to Golf Charlie Mike. So say American 1007, proceed direct Golf Charlie Mike. So speeding up a little bit, as he gets close to the TMA boundary, we're going to say American 1007, you're entering non-radar airspace. Radar services are terminated. Remain on this frequency. Descend and maintain 1,500 and report 15 DME Golf Charlie Mike. So skipping ahead again, you'll see once he hits the boundary, since he's under flight level 245, which is where the non-radar begins, it looks like he just disconnects, he coasts. He just kind of gets stuck there for a second, and in a moment you'll see him change into a non-radar target. There you go, and that is what a non-radar target will look like on Euroscope. You'll see, as far as the target is concerned, you have the non-radar indicator at the top. You have his call sign, his aircraft type and weight category, his assigned altitude, that's just the altitude you've assigned him, his destination airport, which you can right or left click to set a go-to point, and then the estimated time of arrival at his destination airport. Under that is the direct to waypoint. So just moving along here, I'm just trying to show you the progress of the non-radar target, the Euroscope simulated non-radar target, as we wait for him to report 15 DME Golf Charlie Mike. So just to expand upon what I've said so far, basically this is a simulation by Euroscope based on the last recorded ground speed of the airplane while it was still a radar target. And based on where you've sent it. So he's going direct, the non-radar target is going direct Golf Charlie Mike, just like we ordered the plane to. And just to kind of explain to you why we even have this, since we're not providing any actual radar services, these non-radar targets are just to kind of help us keep track of airplanes that we have in our airspace, where they might be, even though it might not be that accurate, and where we've sent them and what altitude we've descended them to, which is especially important within this non-radar TMA. So let's imagine that he just now has reported 15 DOE Golf Charlie Mike. We'll say American 1007, roger that. Next report the Golf Charlie Mike VOR or the field in sight, whichever comes first. And as we scuttle ahead a little bit, we're going to see that there he is. He has entered the small radar envelope around the airport. So you just left-click on his non-radar target and click Terminate so that the simulation ends. And he will probably be calling in, even though he's a little high on this sweatbox simulation, say American 1007 has the field in sight. And you'd say American 1007, cleared visual approach, runway 08, join and report left downwind. And he'll start to set up for it. Moving ahead once again, I just wanted to show you what the aircraft will look like on short final. You'll see just as it's about to land, it'll start to coast again, or to look like it's about to go non-radar again. That's because, like I said earlier, we cannot see aircraft on the ground using the radar mode. So when the aircraft starts to approach the ground, we have to go to our robertslocal.asr, and once again you'll see the airplane land, taxi, etc. With our ground radar mode. So just a brief recap here of what we've learned about non-radar control with American 1007 on Euroscope. Basically the things you need to remember is that you should tag/assume, whatever you want to call it, the aircraft before they enter the TMA/FIR. You want to make sure you keep the data tag, the non-radar data tag, current with all the altitude and lateral instructions you've given them. And lastly, once they enter the non-radar or the radar pocket around the airport as an arrival, you want to terminate their non-radar target so that their new radar target is the only target you see for that aircraft. So now we're still on Cayman approach, but we've got an airplane on the ground. It's Cayman 4425, it's the Twin Otter. And basically, this airplane is going from Owen Roberts to the Brock IFR. And you'll see his flight plan is in our planes list, so we just right-click on that to open it up. You don't need to give him a squawk. If the pilot is doing it right, he should call you first to ask you if you have his flight plan. Say everything's okay with that flight plan. Going to Brock via the Romeo 644. And you'll tell him to call for taxi and expect IFR clearance during taxi. Now we're going to skip ahead a little bit and assume that we've given this airplane his taxi clearance, and we'll see him start to taxi towards the runway to backtrack on runway 08. Normally what I would have up here is I would have the Kingston radar Euroscope ASR file set up, taking up most of the screen so that I could see the TMA itself, and then I would have the local file here set up on a third of the screen, just like I have via proxy, just like I've shown you guys in a previous video. But since you can't do proxy connections on Euroscope, we're just going to take it one view at a time. So we'll pretend Cayman 4425 gets his clearance during this taxi, cleared to the Brock via the Romeo 644, climb and maintain 7,000, blah blah blah, departure frequency, etc., etc. And we'll see him taxi here. Skipping ahead. So we see here Cayman 4425 has been given his takeoff clearance, and he will begin rolling shortly. And now that we see he's rolling, we can go back to our Kingston radar view. It's over here. Just give him a minute to get into the air. Alright, there we go. So Cayman 4425 is in the air. You'll see he's just a normal radar target now because, like I've said previously, the non-radar areas surround the airports, but there is a little bit of coverage around the airports so that Euroscope has enough time with the airplane to actually form a simulation once he goes into the non-radar. So we'll go ahead and correlate him with his flight plan up here, which will allow us to tag/assume him. Give him a little time to get to the non-radar area. So jumping ahead a bit, you'll see Cayman 4425 has reached the limit of the small radar envelope outside the airport. You'll see, just like the other airplane, he starts to coast. It looks like he's disconnected. Just give it a few seconds. And voila. Just like the other aircraft, eventually, after a little while, maybe 30 seconds, minute at the most, he turns into a non-radar target. And just to go over the tag again, you've got the non-radar indicator up top, call sign, which you can right-click on to open up his flight plan, aircraft type, weight category, his assigned altitude, his destination airport, which you can click on to send him directly to somewhere, and then his destination airport ETA. So we'll say Cayman 4424. We'll pretend that when he took off, we said Cayman 4425, airborne time 27, report level at 7,000. So moving ahead a few minutes, we'll imagine that Cayman 4425 just reported level at 7,000 feet. And since traffic permits, there's no one else in the TMA, we'll say Cayman 4425, roger. When ready at pilot's discretion, descend and maintain 1,500. Report leaving 7,000, and QNH at the Brock is 1015. And right after we do that, we want to go to his temporary altitude and set it to 1,500, because even though he won't be descending down there anytime soon, that is the most recent altitude limit that we've given him. So as we skip ahead another few minutes, we'll imagine that Cayman 4425 just told us that he was leaving 7,000 for 1,500, to which we would respond, Cayman 4425, roger, report level at 1,500. So just a bit of a side note here, as far as the simulation here with this non-radar tag is concerned, if we find out from either the pilot or another source, I'm not really sure what other source you could find it out from, it gives you a different ETA that is different from the one Euroscope has generated for its destination airport. You can go into his flight plan by right-clicking on his call sign and entering the new ETA. So let's say he has estimated for himself that he's going to get to Charlie Bravo Charlie at 7:30. You can enter that into the flight plan, and you can see the simulation will reflect that. And we're going to go ahead and assume that he just reported level at 1,500, to which we would say Cayman 4425. Roger that, report the Charlie Bravo Charlie NDB or the field in sight, whichever comes first. So we're going to imagine now that Cayman 4425 just reported the field in sight, to which we would say Cayman 4425 cleared visual approach runway 09er, join and report a straight-in final, which she would do. And pretty much any moment now we should expect to see him enter the little radar pocket surrounding the airport. So maybe I'll just wait that out. And now that I've cleared him for the visual approach, we want to go into his temporary altitude and click the visual approach button. So now you can see he's cleared for the visual approach. And boom, there it is. So you see he appears on a very short final. And He would report the short final for runway 09, or we clear him to land, and as soon as that real data target pops up, you want to go ahead and terminate the flight plan track. And once again, as he gets very low, you'll have to switch to the local file, which in this case would be Brock Local, where you can see him land. So that's our first non-radar flight in between two non-radar airports, Grand Cayman and Cayman Brock. So that's just about it for this video tutorial. I realized that a lot of the procedural stuff, a lot of the the actual phraseology and ATC procedures were either incorrect, or I just kind of spouted it out. Like I said, this was not to instruct you how to control non-radar. I was just trying to give you some examples of the phraseology to keep the narrative going. This tutorial was to teach you how to do it in Euroscope, what the data tags look like and behave like when you're working with non-radar. So hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know.